The homeless crisis today, it's affecting all of us. But the most important person it affects are children of moms who are trying to make ends meet. And I have to say, it's almost an unfair advantage, I feel, what's happening, especially in the affordable housing industry. I've met successful moms who had great careers and was stuck with trying to make decisions such as should I go back to work or stay at home with my kids? And as a mom myself, if I had the choice, I would be home with my kids. But we live in a time where everything is so uncertain. Right now, the job landscape, nobody really knows what's going to happen with the introduction of the AI. And joining me here today is Angela from Hearts for Moms. And she's going to share with us how we can get involved as a community. And also, you other moms who are joining us here in the Mompreneur Source community. Our goal is to help moms get in business and stay in business so they can never have to face these circumstances. And some of the heartfelt stories that I've heard here, I mean, unbelievable. And I can't imagine what these moms go through or how helpless they feel knowing that they won't be able to survive or provide for their kids. So Angela, please share with us a little bit about your organization and what made you start this organization.
Thank you, Glo. I appreciate the opportunity that we get to raise any awareness on the crisis that we're facing right now, because it is a crisis. It's no longer a problem, it's a crisis. And I've been serving for over 13 years already. I started serving at different capacities, single moms, not being a single mom myself, but after realizing how difficult and how challenging it is for a single mom to be able to truly provide for their children, I realized that I really wanted to be part of their community, their support system, and their voice. I admire single moms, Glo. I've been married for just about 29 years, actually, come March.
Mm.
And I'm thankful that, again, the Lord has brought me to a place where my husband and I were able to raise our son. He's now 20 years old.
Mm.
But when truly, when there was that gap that was missing, there was something that I knew that I had to do for the greater good. And that's when my purpose came to life. And I learned about the plea of a single mom and their plight. And so that's why I really wanted to come alongside of them and trying to bring to the table more of a comprehensive approach to be able to help them, because if they succeed, their children will too.
Yes.
If we're able to pour into them, then it will be more of a wholesome approach that they will have to raising their children themselves. So it is a generational transformation and cycles that are broken as we are able to pour into that one mom, that it will be a trickle down effect for the children as well, which is so important because they too are the future leaders of our community, our nation. So it's important that we do something. And it is really heartbreaking to see what is happening today, Glo. Again, I've been doing it for 13 years, and it's been 7 years ago that this ministry was founded, Hearts for Moms. We provide resources to enrich the lives of single moms and their children. So we have a comprehensive approach in order to help them go from surviving to thriving.
Nice.
So one of the things that we needed to make sure is that, again, there was no banded approach to it. But when we identify that the single moms want to commit, connect, and change, truly change, then we're able to bring to the table for them to get supportive services like skill development classes that we offer twice a month for them. It's a time for them to be in community, because that's what we need the most is community, be able to have others to come alongside of us. And then we also bring the financial services. We subsidize the cost of housing, transportation, education, childcare, and we also provide mental health counseling where we refer the moms to counselors so that they can truly heal from their traumas and any triggers that they have and become whole. So it is a massive endeavor as we truly touch every point of a mom's life and also their children. But in order for us to really be able to help them break generational cycles, for them to identify bad behaviors and start creating new habits, it takes time. It takes
Mhm.
time on doing it. And one of our biggest pushes that we have with the moms is education, because without education, Glow, they're not going to be able to get their income level, which for the most part is very, very low. We have moms that possibly could be at $15 an hour to 20 or so as they come into the program. But in order for them to truly be able to provide for their children, we have an MSNBC report back in 2019. So this was prior COVID, prior inflation, prior everything, right?
Mhm.
But it says that in order for a single mom to be able to provide the basic needs for one child, she
Mhm.
has to make a minimum of $52,000. That was
She's
back in
not living in Florida.
2019.
She's not living in Florida.
Right. Well, now it's at least 20% higher
Mm.
at the very least. And so for two children, it's $60,000. For three children, it's $75,000.
Wow.
So it's a hard reality. And usually when I say this, it shocks people because we know that the reality is that their income level is nowhere near. And like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, Glow, the affordable housing, that's non-existent. And to be honest with you, I am offended by even calling it affordable housing.
Yeah, they should change the name of that.
Absolutely. But the term low income is not fancy enough.
Mhm.
Let's call it what it is. It needs to be low income because honestly, they are struggling. Moms
Mhm.
are not able to afford the cost of living in Florida. And pretty scary that we heard data that Florida is actually becoming almost more expensive than California
Mm.
and New York in both housing and transportation.
Mm.
So if we don't rise up to the occasion and start helping these families that are in so much need, we are going to have a much bigger problem ahead. And we know that things are going to be even more challenging later. They're not going to get any easier, but that's why we are determined to be able to bring all of the programs and supportive services that we need. Because, Glow, the reality is that we have over 300 families on the wait list.
On the wait list for your program?
Yes, they have
Wow.
applied for support every time a mom applies.
Mhm.
This is not the first time. They don't just apply to Hearts for Moms, but they're applying to a plethora of other organizations,
Mhm.
and they're shut down because they're running out of resources. The government doesn't have enough money anymore to be able to provide for daycare vouchers, food stamps, food stamps. I'm gonna give you the example of a mom coming up that I just recently met that she wouldn't qualify for food stamps and she's about to be homeless. How in the world is that happening?
Well, that triggers in me when I get involved with the middle class community, right? And for a lot of the moms in the middle class, because it was brought to my attention, when we think about homelessness, we think about the person on the side of the street with some bags, dragging something. We don't look at someone who looks like they're all put together on the
Right.
outside, knowing that in the back of their mind, they're thinking, man, I got one more paycheck to go, and that's it,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
then I made some of the middle class moms that I met, right? Because for those of you who just getting introduced to me, I was told I couldn't have kids, and then I turned 40 and fertile. Then I got into that world that was really a reality check for me, which is why I launched this platform to help moms in marketing, because that's where my heart is. And as I shared with you, Angela, my marketing strategy is really helping you bring your unique business ideas to the world, utilizing all of what's going on with social media, if you want to go grassroots. But back to what I'm saying wasn't until I got into that space that I found the moms who were in the middle class was struggling big time because they made just enough money to not qualify for certain services, and they're
Mhm.
not making enough money to pay the bills. And some of them have spouses and partners. So they
Yeah.
just still in that community of borderline being homeless or living in their cars. Like when I travel, I see people who are just you know that they're getting dressed in their car, right? They got the seat
Mhm.
kicked back, and then next thing you know, you see them pop up, you know, they do their little thing and then they jump out. And you're like, oh my goodness, this is like, and to see this happening, I mean, not to mention the tent communities that's showing up in a lot of the playgrounds and stuff like that, you know, having compassion is great, but as entrepreneurs, I don't think a lot of entrepreneurs realize that we have the opportunity to create another source or stream of income. And even though
Yeah.
artificial intelligence is there, we can leverage some of that to bring our unique services to the world and create some income for ourselves and our family. But like you said, Angela, it doesn't happen unless there's a mind shift, right? The traumas and the triggers, like you said, it's got to be a major mental shift. So my question for those listening, if they were to support your organization, like what do you observe that's the cycle once someone comes through your program?
Mhm.
Um, I guess if they qualify, what does that cycle look like for the mom to transition and get into the right mindset with the support? And
Mhm.
I would say also, what's the success rate of the program?
Mhm. So our program is very unique, though, because again, we are a comprehensive, it's a whole wraparound service, which not many organizations offer. But we're also a long-term commitment. Because
Mm-hmm,
again, if somebody could tell us and give us this magic secret so that we can do it in shorter time, we will be all for it. But the
mm-hmm,
reality is that when we're telling a mom that she needs to enter into the education path, whether it's college, vocational training, or certification, we need to make sure that the mom is actively committing to growth,
mm-hmm,
whatever she's doing. Because again, if we're gonna have the income level where she's coming in to, it needs to rise up to above that $50,000 figure or whatever it is for however many children she has. We need to make sure that in order for her to make it happen, there's got to be a major shift, and it takes time. It takes time for them to even wrap their heads around. For example, Glo, we have a mom that when she came to us, she still a certified nurse assistant, and she was working almost two full-time jobs.
mm-hmm,
And when we will tell her, we will ask her, okay, what's your dream? What do you want to become? And she will say, Miss Angela, I want to be a registered nurse, but it's no way you're asking me to go back to college. I don't know how to do that because I literally have to work almost two full-time jobs in order for me to provide for my son. So it's crazy that you're even asking for me to go back. And how am I going to support him? So that's part of where we come in, Glow, is that we tell them that the secret sauce is that if we're able to subsidize the cost of their rental and stabilize their basic needs, now we're asking them to take some of those hours away from their job and put it onto their education. We ask them to start just with one class because often the moms are so overwhelmed. They just cannot see beyond the trees, the forest. They just can't. They cannot figure out one more thing. So if we help them start with one class, then they see that they were able to achieve that class and they're standing a little taller. This particular mom, she aced her first class. She then registered for three classes, just like that, three classes. She aced all three classes. She registered for five classes. At that time, I called her crazy.
mm-hmm.
I said, girlfriend, I want to make sure you're going to succeed. But five classes during the summer term, that's a lot. And she said, I can do it. I can do it. You'll see. She ended up graduating with her associate's degree, which took her 3.5 years because she was still working, one full-time job. And then she was able to put time into her education. But she graduated with her associates. And at that point, we could have said, wow, she's got the tools. She could figure it out. But truly, she had not reached her milestone, which is becoming a registered nurse. Now it's going to get really complicated because if you know anything about nursing, Glow, it's really demanding. Between the clinicals, the exams, it's extremely demanding. So Now mom will be graduating come May. She will
Wow.
have her registered nurse degree. It
Wow.
took her 7 years to do it, but she will go. She started when she came into the program. She was making about $12 an hour. She's at about 18. She will actually be making over $45 an hour, which will put her at $90,000 a year.
Wow.
So it's a long-term commitment.
Mm.
And we're like, okay, Lord, so being that it's taking time for the moms to be able to truly achieve these amazing milestones and truly become independent of any government assistance, because that
Mm.
is the goal. By
Mhm.
the time that she will graduate, she had received housing assistance. She had received scholarship funds for her education, transportation. Her car
Mm.
got totaled, and by the grace of God, she received a newer car that was completely donated and given to her. She had received childcare assistance, and now her boy is a little older. So we're looking to summer camp activities, whatever activities we're going to be able to kind of fill in those gaps. We're going to be able to do that, and we try as much as possible to be able to help mom according to her budget, because again, we also pair them up with a financial coach so that on a monthly basis there's full transparency of all of their financial statements. Without
Mhm.
that, we cannot approve the subsidy that is going to be given to them.
Love it.
So she will have received all of the services, and at that time we can say that she can fly, that she can truly fly. But because it is a long-term commitment for the Changing Lives program, up to about 6 years, if not more, as long as they're moving, as long as they're growing, as long as they're changing, we're walking that journey with them. But because of the crisis, we had to pivot and over the summer, and we had to create the Giving Hope program. So that's going to be a brand new program that is going to be a 1 year term. It's going to be solely for these moms on the wait list, trying to get them at least so that we can provide some services for them. And again, there's a cost because, really the reason why they really need us is because they need that financial support, Glo.
Yeah.
So, we cannot kid ourselves. These mamas are working their hearts out. It's not because they're not working. It's not because they're sitting home. They cannot be sitting home. If they are not going to school and or working, they cannot be part of the program.
Mm.
But it takes time in order for them to be able to really go from one place to where they need to be and truly provide for their children. So the Giving Hope program is going to allow us to start doing that. And that will be considered our phase one. Our phase two is the Changing Lives program, which it will make them completely independent and self-sustainable. And then they're going to be going into the 360 Leader Moms program, which we're just going to be kicking off in June. And that's going to be a program that is going to be just to be able to get the alumni as they graduate. They come into this program, and it's going to be all leadership skills. And also we're going to bring in the entrepreneurship program that we're also creating for them, which is really exciting because like you said, we want to expose the moms so that they can see that they can have multiple streams of income. Things
Mhm.
are not going to get easy, and they shouldn't have to be dependent on one thing. If something does not work, we need to make sure there's something else that is
Mhm.
bringing in some income. So we're excited to be able to get that off the ground as well. So everything just takes time, but we are thankful that we're able to have incredible volunteers, incredible supporters that will help us continue to do what we need to do.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's where we're at right now.
So for someone listening to this, if they wanted to refer someone to the organization, what's the best way to reach you guys? Do you have a crisis line or just a main phone number?
So right now it's through our website. We
Okay.
recommend for the moms to be able to go under the For Moms page on our website, Glow, and then fill out an application. Once
Okay.
they fill out that application, one of the leaders, program coordinators, will be in touch. But like I said, unfortunately, sadly, we have too long of a wait list right now. We're
Mhm.
trying to create solutions. We're trying to be able to, our goal is to bring this program, this Giving Hope program, to other churches, to other organizations, because this is not just a Hearts for Moms problem. This is a community problem,
Mhm.
and it's going to be really hard to solve if we're all not doing something about it.
Well, as you
So
mentioned earlier too, the being able to help the kids, allow the moms to help the kids and support them, it's gonna pay off in the long run, like you said, because a lot of the challenges we have in culture and society right now is kids who didn't have good parenting, right?
Right.
And then that
Right.
rolls right over into criminal activity and all the other stuff that comes along with it. I know like the ADHD stuff is a buzzword and autism and all
Right.
this craziness that parents have to deal with, but then add behavioral challenges on top of mom stressed out and struggling to
Hmm.
just make ends meet. And then you ask, where are the fathers? Uh, that's another question, right?
Right.
Because we
Right.
have a lot of kids having kids, right?
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
can go down a whole nother rabbit hole about that subject.
Right. Well, and sadly, the statistic shows that 8 out of 10 fathers completely walk away from any responsibilities with their children.
You know, in all fairness, now that I'm a parent, I can see how that can happen because
Hmm.
when you have that screaming child, I couldn't imagine having this responsibility of being a parent when I was in my teens.
Hmm.
And I can't imagine, you know, so that what we can do as a community is continue to support these moms, but I like that your program is not an enabling program.
No.
It is
Mm-mm.
accountability and staying in that community and really helping the moms transition into a long-term situation where they can find strength and start to believe in themselves. So I definitely appreciate that because I've volunteered with organizations,
Hmm.
most of them involving kids being human trafficked and all
Mm.
that other crazy stuff. And just getting into the nonprofit space, I felt like a lot of them were handouts, right? They weren't really working on making a long-term effect. It was like just
Yeah.
here's water or here is whatever it is, right? So this is important that we do stand behind organizations, and all we need is a lot of people doing a little, right? That's
Oh,
where the success
absolutely.
comes from.
Agreed, agreed. And yes, for sure, there is accountability. I mean, without accountability, we don't succeed. And so we want to make sure that we are bringing the right team. Like the moms
Hmm.
get paired up with a Christian mentor, they get paired up with a financial coach. They have the leader, which is the program coordinator. And
Hmm.
then we also have other coaches. Now we're going to have this new entrepreneurship coach that is going to be able to come alongside of them as well for
Hmm.
those that we identify. But is there possibly some career advice? We have somebody that we can actually uh, connect the mom with for career coaching. I mean, it is a, a team that truly comes together and
Hmm.
alongside of the moms that they wouldn't necessarily have on their own.
Wow.
Glow, and that's why that's so important. But we cannot want it more than they do, and we say that to them
Mm.
every time. The time that we are working harder than they are, that's at the time that we say we have to let go and let God. It's that simple. It is that simple for us. And that's, we have cases of moms that, yes, they come in and they are excited and they're ready to go, but unfortunately, they don't comply. And that's when we have to, unfortunately and sadly, dismiss them. But again, they have to be the ones that really truly want the change. So we can give you all the tools and all of the resources,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, it's up to you to make it happen. And at the beginning, there's always a period of grace because they don't know
Mm.
what they don't know. It's
Is that
really
that was
sad to
gonna be one of my
see.
next questions. If they get
Yeah,
dismissed from the program, are they able to reapply?
they are actually. So kind of funny that you asked that because we literally this Saturday I had the opportunity to meet one of our moms that she
Mhm.
was in the program. I'm going to say she's been out of the program for about 3 years,
Mhm.
and I received this text, and I love what you said because truly moms are only one paycheck away from being evicted from their
Mhm.
homes,
Wow.
from encountering crisis. And it happened to be the story with this mom. She was working, she was having a good job, but unfortunately, the company was sold out and they let go over 80 employees. And she really was having a hard time just trying to keep up with everything. Long
Mhm.
story short, as we ended up going through the vetting process, because it is a vetting process, not every single mom, Glow, that is going to apply to the program is going to be a good candidate because
Mm.
the expectation is high. Most of the moms, I will tell you, they get very uncomfortable about knowing that there is accountability with their finances.
Mm.
And as soon as we tell them that they have to be fully transparent with their bank statements, their savings, their cash apps, more than likely that's going to be a breaking point for them, where they don't want somebody else getting in their business. Well, without that, we can't help you. It's
Well,
that
they
simple.
say what caused the problem?
Exactly.
In the first place, we have a financial problem.
Exactly.
Money
Exactly. So we want
management.
to exactly. So that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that they become good stewards of what is given, as well as for them to learn how to budget, eliminate their debt, rise their credit score. So I met with this mom, and it was incredible, because truly, if it's not because we have intervened over the weekend, she and her three little girls would have been homeless.
Wow.
And that's heavy, as I'm sitting there, Glow, having a conversation with her and just seeing these three little girls, the possibility of this family living in their car is really heartbreaking. And it's heavy. Ministry is heavy, but I'm so glad that as a Christian ministry, we're able to go right to the source, which is God.
Right.
And that's what gives us the strength. And He's the one that continues to make all of this happen. But this particular mom, now she recognizes that, before she didn't recognize what was in front of her.
Mhm.
But now we know that she's ready. So she's one of the moms that used to be in the program. But we go again through the whole application process. We go through
Mhm.
the whole vetting process. We want to make sure that they're ready for the expectations that we have for them. And we're thankful. We're thankful that at least it was one more family, Glow, that we have helped avoid for them to be homeless. And it's only because truly we're grateful for supporters that make it happen. Because again, without the finances, it's really where they need the most assistance. And we are excited because this mom is going to do great, and we already have identified the certification that is a pharmaceutical certification that we're going to get her going with. And she can't wait, because she's like, oh my gosh, I actually have the opportunity to go ahead and do this. She's been wanting it for a long time. But really sad to hear when they don't have enough money for food, because they no longer are able to
Mhm.
have the food stamps. And she had knocked at every single door for rental assistance, and nobody was there to help. And so it really is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see what is happening, but we're glad that at least it was one more family that we were able to bring into the program to help them.
Yeah, because that's one thing when you have no control over circumstances like losing your job or something, and
Right.
that's a real scary reality for a lot of folks, as I mentioned earlier. That's yeah, a lot of people gonna be leaving their current positions and transitioning into we don't know what yet. But we're innovative,
Right.
we're humans. We survived the internet. I remember when my friends were saying it's going to be the end of the world and all this craziness. And
Right.
one of the moms I spoke to this morning at our Mompreneur Cafe, we have like open conversations. You know, they were just like, oh, well, I remember going through that with the internet, and we were in the hotel. And, there's so many stories when we bring this community together. And I hope moms listening or whoever's listening can share it with another mom and find inspiration in these stories and resources and reach out and connect with each other, because this is what's going to get us through these times. So
Correct.
I have belief in that. And I'm going to make sure we put your information in the message so people can find you and apply if you need assistance. Any other
Right.
resources for the mom who may be experiencing a crisis that can't wait to hear back from one of your counselors?
Yes. So what we recommend, we are really trying to keep up with the resources that we put on our website, because we realize we need a community resources for them. So that it's just a link away for them to be able to click. And we have it all in categories, whether it's housing, food
Mm.
pantries, whatever it is, they can go to our website for that, Glow. And another way for people to be connected to us is through our social media at Hearts for Moms. That's where we try to keep up with some of the successes that we are able to put out there, and also some of the collaborations and resources that we have in there too. So that's another great way to for people to be connected, and always for them to subscribe to our email too.
Which
So,
social media are you guys more prominent on?
so Facebook and Instagram, and that is at Hearts for Moms. And then LinkedIn, we have Hearts for Moms, but also under my page, which is Angela P. Bull. So yeah, there's just several ways for us to be connected and continue the conversation. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to bring awareness, because yes, we do need true affordable housing, number one, and let's really call it for what it is.
Right.
But we just need more people to really be able to step up and do more. I often say that to any listeners to just be sensitive to what's out there. It
Mm-hmm.
could be the mom that is at the grocery store. Just be sensitive to what is going on, because even after we interviewed this one mom, she was really not eating because she didn't have the means for food. She was making sure that her children were. And I just can't imagine being in that position, Glow, where you have to choose between food for yourself or for your children, where you have to choose for electricity or even rent.
Mm.
We had a really sad story of one of the moms that applied, and she said that her child is autistic, she's insulin dependent, and they're also living in a tent.
And you think this is happening in America, in our backyards?
In our own backyard. And
And
listen, I'm an immigrant, but we need to take care of our own people first.
yeah. And it's funny, most people here are immigrants. I'm an immigrant too. But
we,
it's
we
scary to think that we are in America and people are
yeah,
experiencing this. And I
yeah,
just can't imagine, a crying baby wrapped up and you don't have food. I mean, if even if you're nursing that baby, you still have to eat to produce milk, and then your supply dry up, all these complications that come along with being a mom. I mean, can't imagine it, but we're doing something about it. We're in the fight all together, and that's what
yes,
our community is about. And I'm looking forward to learning more as we all grow together to support the community of moms who really don't want to give up. So thank you,
amen.
Angela, for being with me, and I look forward
Thank
to
you.
connecting soon.